The mission briefing had been simple. Infiltrate the hive, locate the queen, execute her, and end the war. What they hadn't told Sergeant Marcus Cole was that the queen would be waiting for him in her throne room, alone, unarmed, and smiling. "You move quietly for a human," she said, her voice resonating like wind through crystal. But not quietly enough. Marcus kept his rifle trained on her chest, if that's what the blue luminescent center of her thorax could be called. She was nothing like the propaganda vids. No monstrous bulk, no dripping mandibles, no army of drones surrounding her. She stood perhaps 6 feet tall, humanoid in shape, but unmistakably alien, with skin that shifted between deep purple and midnight blue, and eyes that held the light of dying stars. "You're not what I expected," he admitted, finger still on the trigger. "Neither are you." She descended the steps from her throne, each movement fluid and deliberate. "I expected rage, hatred. Instead, I sense exhaustion. 12 years of war will do that." "Yes." She stopped 10 feet away. 12 years. 47 million of my children dead. "How many of yours?" Marcus didn't answer. The numbers were classified, but everyone knew they were catastrophic. "I did not start this war, Sergeant Cole. You're their queen. You command them. I guide them. There is a difference." She tilted her head, studying him. "Your leaders told you we attacked first. Mine told my children the same about you. Have you never wondered who truly fired the first shot? Doesn't matter anymore." "It matters entirely." She gestured, and holographic displays flickered to life around them. Communications intercepts, military orders, corporate manifests. The Meridian Corporation. They wanted our worlds, our resources. They manufactured the incident that began this war. Both our peoples have been dying for their profit. Marcus had heard conspiracy theories before. But these documents, he recognized authentication codes, military signatures, things that couldn't be easily faked. "Why show me this?" "Because you came to kill me and you haven't yet." Her eyes met his. "Because in 12 years, you are the first human to hesitate." "I'm not hesitating. I'm gathering intelligence. You're lying. But I appreciate the effort." She moved closer, and Marcus found his rifle lowering slightly. "I have a proposal, Sergeant Cole. Help me end this war, truly end it, and I will give you something your commanders never could." "What's that?" "The truth. The truth. And perhaps," she paused, something almost vulnerable crossing her alien features, "a purpose beyond killing." The rational part of Marcus's mind screamed that this was a trap. Queens didn't negotiate. They didn't show classified documents to enemy soldiers. They didn't look at humans with anything resembling hope. But 12 years of war had taught Marcus one thing. The rational approach had failed spectacularly. "I'm listening," he said. 3 hours later, Marcus understood why his superiors had never wanted this war to end. "The mineral deposits on Karath 7, he muttered, scrolling through the data. "That's what this has always been about. Enough to fuel human expansion for 3 centuries, Velsara confirmed. That was her name, he'd learned. Not just a title, but an identity. "My people have no use for it. We offered to share. Your corporations refused. So they started a war instead. A war that conveniently required massive military contracts, weapons production, ship construction." She stood beside him, close enough that he could feel the subtle warmth radiating from her skin. "Your people and mine have been dying to make a few thousand individuals very wealthy." Marcus thought of his squad. Jenkins, blown apart on Cygnus 4. Rodriguez, burned alive in the orbital bombardment. 17 friends, gone. For corporate profit margins. "If I help you expose this," he said slowly, "I'm committing treason." "Against whom?" "The government that sent you to die for lies." "Against my species?" "No." Velsara turned to face him fully. You would be saving your species. And mine. Is that not worth any cost? Marcus looked at her, really looked. Behind the alien features, he saw something painfully familiar. The weight of impossible responsibility, the grief of countless losses, the desperate hope that maybe, somehow, the killing could stop. Why me? He asked. You could have chosen any human. A diplomat, a politician, someone with actual power. Politicians are purchased. Diplomats are compromised. She held his gaze. But you, Marcus Cole, you have killed more of my children than any other human soldier. If you can be convinced of peace, anyone can. You are my proof that reconciliation is possible. That's a hell of a gamble. My people's survival depends on it. I am willing to gamble everything. Her voice softened. The question is, are you? Before Marcus could answer, alarms shrieked through the chamber. Red light flooded the throne room as the walls shuddered with distant explosions. Your extraction team, Velsara said, no accusation in her tone. They've begun the assault. Marcus checked his comm. 17 minutes until full bombardment. 17 minutes until this entire hive complex was reduced to ash, along with everyone in it. Including him. Including her. Is there another way out? Velsara studied him. You would abandon your mission? Help me escape? I would. Marcus stopped, surprised by his own certainty. I would save the one person who's told me the truth in 12 years, even if she's supposed to be my enemy. Something shifted in Velsara's expression. There are tunnels. Deep alerting through the eyes. But they will pursue. Then we'd better move fast. Marcus ejected his rifle's tracking chip and crushed it under his boot. Lead the way, Your Majesty. Velsara, she corrected. If we are to be fugitives together, you should use my name. Despite everything, the explosions, the betrayal, the impossible situation, Marcus almost smiled. Lead the way, Velsara. The tunnels beneath the hive stretched for miles, bioluminescent walls pulsing with soft blue light. They had been walking for 6 hours, the sounds of pursuit finally fading behind them. Your people will hunt you now, Velsara said. It wasn't a question. Probably already branded me a traitor. Marcus checked his water supply. Enough for another day, maybe 2. Court-martial, execution, the whole package. You seem remarkably calm about this. I've been expecting to die for 12 years. At least now it'll be for something real. Velsara was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, softer, more uncertain. I must confess something to you, Marcus. More corporate conspiracies? No. Something personal. She stopped walking, turning to face him in the pale blue light. When I asked you to help me, I was manipulating you, using your exhaustion, your grief, your doubt. I needed a human ally, and you were convenient. Marcus should have been angry. Instead, he felt something like respect. I know. You knew? 12 years of interrogation resistance training. He shrugged. I recognize the techniques. You're good, but not that good. Then why did you agree? Because manipulation doesn't make truth into lies. Marcus leaned against the tunnel wall. Everything you showed me was real. The documents, the corporate involvement, the manufactured war. You were using me, sure, but you weren't wrong. Velsara stared at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. You are not what I expected, Marcus Cole. You said that already. It bears repeating. She moved closer, close enough that her bioluminescence cast shadows across his face. I have studied humans for decades. Your strategies, your psychology, your weaknesses. I thought I understood your species. And you continue to surprise me. Her voice dropped. I expected you to be angry when I confessed my manipulation. Instead, you are forgiving. Not forgiving. Understanding. Marcus met her strange, beautiful eyes. In your position, I'd have done the same thing. Hell, I've done worse. What could be worse than manipulation? I've killed hundreds of your people, Velsera. Maybe thousands. I've burned hives, slaughtered drones, ended bloodlines that were ancient before humanity discovered fire. The words came out flat, heavy with accumulated weight. You tried to manipulate me with words. I manipulated your entire species with violence. You were following orders. That's not an excuse. It's barely even an explanation. Silence stretched between them, filled only by the soft pulse of the tunnel walls. We are both monsters then, Velsara finally said. Both guilty of terrible things in service of a war we did not choose. Seems that way. Then perhaps, she hesitated, and for the first time, Marcus saw genuine uncertainty in her expression. Perhaps we can be monsters together, seeking redemption together. Is that what this is? Redemption? I do not know what this is. Her hand reached out, alien fingers stopping just short of his face. I know only that when I look at you, I do not see an enemy. I see someone as broken as myself, and I find that comforting. Marcus caught her hand before she could pull away. Her skin was warm, smooth, vibrating slightly with some internal energy he couldn't identify. I'm not good at comfort, he said. Never have been. Neither am I. But she didn't pull away. We could learn. They emerged from the tunnels 3 days later, on a moon that belonged to neither side, neutral territory by treaty, ignored by everyone in practice. The safe house Velsara led him to was barely more than a cave with technology, but it had supplies, communications equipment, and most importantly, shielding that would hide them from both human and alien sensors. Now what? Marcus asked, watching her activate the comm systems. Now we build a coalition. Humans and Velketh who want the truth. Politicians who haven't been purchased. Military officers with consciences. She pulled up a list of names, dozens of them from both species. I have been cultivating these contacts for years. They are waiting for proof. The documents you showed me? Part of it. But documents can be fabricated. She turned to face him. What they need is a symbol. Proof that our species can work together. A human soldier and a Velketh queen united against the true enemy. You want us to go public. Eventually. First, we need to survive long enough to make that possible. She gestured at the equipment. Your military training, my intelligence network. Together we can stay hidden while we build our evidence. Marcus surveyed the cramped space. We're going to be here a while, aren't we? Months, perhaps. Years. Velsara met his eyes. I understand if that is... No, not is. Uncomfortable. Confined spaces with an alien queen you were sent to kill. I've had worse deployments. Marcus started unpacking their supplies. At least the company's interesting. Despite herself, Velsara laughed, a sound like chiming bells that Marcus found surprisingly pleasant. You continue to surprise me, Marcus Cole. I'm starting to think that's a good thing. It is. Her expression softened. It absolutely is. 6 months in the safe house had changed them both. Marcus had learned that Velsara snored, a soft, clicking sound that had annoyed him at first, and now somehow helped him sleep. He'd learned that she was terrified of small spaces, despite being a hive-dwelling species, a phobia she'd hidden behind royal dignity her entire life. He'd learned that she grieved every single one of her children who died in the war, that she kept a mental count that never stopped growing. Velsara had learned that Marcus woke from nightmares 3 times a week, always reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. She'd learned that he'd had a daughter once, lost in the same attack that killed his wife, an attack she'd ordered, though neither of them spoke about that. She'd learned that beneath the soldier's armor, Marcus Cole was desperately, achingly lonely. They'd learned to cook together, to argue about strategy and philosophy, to sit in comfortable silence when words felt inadequate. They'd learned each other's tells, each other's limits, each other's hidden depths. They hadn't learned how to define what they'd become. "Coalition is ready," Velsara announced one morning. 37 human contacts confirmed. 22 Velketh Hive leaders. If we broadcast the evidence simultaneously across both networks, it'll cause chaos. It will cause questions. That is all we need. She pulled up the broadcast protocols. Once people see the truth, they cannot unsee it. The corporations will try to suppress it, but the proximity alarm cut her off. Both of them moved instantly. Marcus to the weapons cache, Velsara to the sensors. "Human strike team," she reported, voice tight. 12 operatives. They found us. How? Does it matter? She was already preparing the emergency protocols. Data backup, evidence dissemination, escape routes. "We have perhaps 10 minutes. Marcus loaded his rifle. "You need to go. Take the evidence. Get to the coalition. I am not leaving you. Velsara, this isn't negotiable." "The mission? Damn the mission." The intensity in her voice stopped him cold. 6 months ago, I would have sacrificed anything for this cause. Including you. Including myself. But now what? She crossed the space between them in 3 strides, her hands catching his face, her eyes burning with something Marcus had never seen before. "Now I find that I cannot imagine a future without you in it." Her voice broke. "And I despise myself for that weakness, but I cannot pretend it does not exist. That's not weakness." Marcus covered her hands with his own. "That's the first genuine thing you've ever said to me. It terrifies me. It terrifies me too." He pulled her closer. "But we can be terrified together." The safe house shuddered as the strike team began breaching the outer defenses. "There is another way," Velsara said quickly. "The old rituals. A bond that would merge our consciousness enough for me to share my immunity with you. Immunity to the weapons they carry. They were designed to kill Velketh, but I have adapted. If we bond, that adaptation would extend to you." She gripped his hands tighter. "But Marcus, such a bond is permanent. Sacred. Among my people, it is the equivalent of marriage," he finished. "Yes." The walls cracked. Seconds now. Marcus looked at this alien queen who had become, somehow, impossibly, the most important person in his universe. He thought of his dead wife, his dead daughter, the 12 years of killing that had left him hollow. He thought of 6 months of learning to feel again. "Do it," he said. Velsara's eyes widened. "You understand what you are agreeing to. I understand I'm not losing you. Not now. Not ever." She kissed him, their first kiss, alien lips against human ones, tasting like starlight and desperation, and then the bond flared between them, and Marcus Cole died. Sergeant Marcus Cole, human soldier, asset of the coalition military, died in that moment. Something new was born in his place. The strike team breached the inner chamber to find them standing side by side, hand in hand, radiating a soft blue luminescence that shouldn't have been possible. "Target acquired," the team leader reported. "Queen and the traitor. Moving to terminate." "You can try," Marcus said, and his voice echoed with harmonics that hadn't been there before. They did try. The weapons, designed to kill Velketh royalty, the most advanced assassin tech humanity had ever developed, splashed harmlessly against the merged shield that surrounded them both. "What the hell? Your corporations built those weapons to kill her species," Marcus continued. "They never considered what would happen if her species bonded with mine." He smiled, and it was not entirely a human smile. "We're something new now, something they never planned for." The strike team retreated, regrouped, tried again. "Same result. Go back to your masters," Velsara said, her voice intertwined with his. "Tell them what you've seen. Tell them that the Queen of the Velketh and a human soldier have become one. Tell them that their war ends now, one way or another." They ran. How? They would report, and everything would change. In the ruins of the safe house, two beings who were also one held each other, adjusting to the new reality they'd created. "We should have done this months ago," Marcus murmured. "We were not ready months ago." Velzara pressed her forehead to his. "Some bonds cannot be rushed. What happens now? Now we finish what we started. Expose the truth. End the war." She pulled back to meet his eyes, and through the bond he could feel her emotions as clearly as his own. Love, fierce and terrified and absolute, together. "Together," he agreed. The broadcast reached every human world and Velketh Hive simultaneously. Marcus Cole, former sergeant, decorated killer of aliens, now something entirely different, stood beside Velzara as the evidence played out across billions of screens. Corporate communications, military orders, financial records, all meticulously documented and verified. 12 years of war, exposed as manufactured genocide for profit. The reactions were immediate and violent. Riots on Earth and the colony worlds. Hive leaders demanding justice. Corporate executives fleeing to hidden bunkers. Military commanders splitting between those who'd known and those who'd been deceived. And in the center of it all, two figures who embodied a different possibility. "They're calling us an abomination," Marcus said, scanning the feeds. "Both sides, they fear what they do not understand." Velzara touched his hand, and through the bond, he felt her exhaustion, her hope, her fierce determination. "It has always been so. Some are listening, though." He highlighted the growing movement, humans and Velketh protesting together, demanding an end to the fighting, pointing to the bonded pair as proof that coexistence was possible. "More every day. More will die before this is over, I know." Marcus pulled her close. "But maybe they'll be the last to die. Maybe we can make that mean something." The war didn't end with their broadcast. Wars never end cleanly. It took 2 more years, 2 years of negotiations, skirmishes, corporate trials, and political upheaval. 2 years of Marcus and Velzara traveling between worlds, serving as living proof that their species could bridge the impossible gap. 2 years of death threats, assassination attempts, and moments when it seemed like nothing would ever change. But slowly, painfully, things did change. The Meridian Corporation was dismantled. Its executives tried for crimes against both species. New treaties were signed, real treaties built on mutual respect rather than fear. Exchange programs began, cultural bridges that would have been unthinkable a decade before. And on a quiet moon where 2 fugitives had once hidden from their own people, a new kind of embassy was established. "They're calling it the Cole-Velzara Accords," Marcus said, reading the official documentation. "Named after us. Technically, they are the same name now." Velzara smiled. She smiled often these days. "In my culture, bondmates share identity, so I'm Velzara too. And I am Marcus Cole." She leaned against him, her warmth mingling with his through the bond. "We are both. We are neither. We are something new." He kissed the top of her head. "Any regrets?" "I came to use you," she admitted. "A convenient tool in my desperate plan to save my people." Through the bond, he felt the truth of what came next. "I never expected to find this, to find you. I came to kill you." Marcus wrapped his arms around her. "Walk in. Bullet to the head. Walk out. Simple mission. What changed your mind? You were waiting for me. Alone. Unarmed. Smiling." He shook his head. "In 12 years of war, no one had ever surprised me. You surprised me in the first 30 seconds. And now I can't imagine being anyone else." He turned her to face him. "I came to kill the alien queen. I left as her husband, and honestly, I think I got the better deal." Velzara laughed, and through the bond, Marcus felt her joy as his own. "I love you," she said. "In your language, in mine, in every language that exists. I love you, Marcus Cole, I love you too, Velsera. He pulled her close. Both of us. Always. Outside their window, ships from both species orbited peacefully, the first joint fleet in history, protecting the fragile peace they had built. Children were being born who would grow up without war, who would see cooperation rather than conflict as normal. It wasn't perfect. It would never be perfect. But it was real, and it was growing, and it was theirs. The soldier who had come to kill had found something worth living for. The queen who had schemed for survival had found something worth dying for. And together, they had proven that even the deepest hatred could be transformed into love, if only someone was brave enough to try. The end.